Hello, welcome to the newest episode of DK and DAHAWK. For once, it's just me and DAHAWK on this episode. So we'll get right into this. We're gonna discuss hockey to start off because that's usually where we start, especially being in Canada. And the first topic of the day, I'd say, has to be the North Division. Pretty good series so far. I think we both picked the Jets to win this series, so we're a little off to start. But before we talk about the series, everybody has a different opinion about the big hit by Mark Scheifele. Just curious what the Hawks' opinion of the hit was, and did he deserve the 4 games? Did he deserve more? Was it a clean hit in your opinion? What do you think? And then I'll give my opinion after.
Yeah, I watched it numerous times. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about this. One, I mean, he didn't give up on the play. I mean, the Evans had the puck, had a wide open net. He was coming in hard. Now, obviously, the rule states you can't have more than 2 strides before you do a change of directions before you hit somebody. So it's definitely a charge, right? He was coming in. Now, it's unfortunate he got hurt, and I do believe the 5-minute major and the game of conduct should have been awarded. And if there was a suspension, which to me right now, I don't know what is suspendable, what isn't anymore. But if it was, I would have went with 2 games. They went with 4. Scheifele said that he will not appeal. I think he feels bad about the hit, but at the same time, right, it's playoff hockey and you got to know where your surroundings are. He had his head down, obviously. And like I said, Scheifele came in hard. He's never been suspended before. I don't think he's ever had a 5-minute major in a game of conduct either. So in the playoffs, right, and you're trying to prevent a goal, and it's a high speed collision. It's what it is. And unfortunately, Evans got hurt. I think if Evans didn't get hurt, it would have been 5 in a game, and I don't even think he would have got a suspension. So once again, the NHL wheel of justice spins, and they just randomly pick games.
Yeah,
and they got to stop that. They got to fix that. So.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson gets nothing for bashing a guy's head into the ice and a fine, and then Scheifele, who's not a repeat offender, gets this. Where Kadri was a repeat offender, that's why he got such a huge amount of games. So
yeah, I definitely
know
agree.
Scheifele's not a dirty player. So
yeah, I agree that I've seen this hit so many times, and when I saw it live, I initially, if everybody noticed, I went on the DK and the Hawk Facebook page because I was kind of like live commenting that night, which I like to do sometimes. So if you guys want to follow the page and comment, and sometimes we'll do prizes and stuff. Anyways, I wrote bye-bye Scheifele because I thought this was going to be a big one because it looked like he knew the goal was going in, and Scheifele just decided that he was gonna make the hit no matter what. If you slow it down, on the one angle, it does look like he does get the chest first, but he does jump into the hit. And if you look at the reverse angle, it looks like it should be 25-game suspension. So it all depends on how you look at the hit. The goal had already gone in when the hit occurred, which I think added to the suspension. I believe if this is Nazem Kadri doing this, this could be a 25 to 50-game suspension based on his history. Now, if you want to talk about other players, like the Tom Wilson play was worse than this, in my opinion. The Ryan Reeves thing he did, which we'll get into when we talk about the Vegas Colorado series, he also what he did with Ryan Graves when he's like kneeing on his neck, feel like that should have been more than what Scheifele got. I kind of predicted a 2-game suspension for Scheifele due to how he plays the game. He's never really been a dirty player. He plays it the right way, I think. And you can also look at his face after he does the hit. He almost looks in shock, like he doesn't even know what he did. He's kind of like, his big blue eyes are staring out and going like, what happened? Like he almost maybe lost control there for a few seconds. So the 4 games, I feel like it's okay. It's a little much for. That's a really hard thing for the Jets, especially. He's their top player. You saw how they struggled against the Flames last year in the play-in round when he was hurt, and so I kind of agree with the suspension. Not maybe not the 4 game. I would have went like 2 or 3, but just an extra one maybe for the charge, and then you do get a couple thrown in there for the injury, which I wish they could get rid of. You should be suspended based on the action, not what happens to the player. So that's kind of my thinking on that. I don't want to waste the whole show on the one play. So let's get into the series. Montreal is up 2-0. They got great defensive play, keeping the Jets to the outside. Carey Price is being Carey Price. I could see Montreal going pretty far in the playoffs if they continue with this. They will play the winner of the Golden Knights and Colorado series. I don't see Winnipeg being able to come back if Montreal continues to play this way. This series could be over by Monday night, which is crazy to think about because they do have a back-to-back at games 3 and 4. What do you think? I honestly think without Scheifele, this could be 4 games straight. This game tonight is huge for Winnipeg. You're going to have at least 2,500 fans. I heard they might be able to allow some more in there. I don't know. You're going to hear them, though, because you heard them in game 6 versus the Leafs. You heard those fans, and it was awesome to see. I like Montreal here. In probably 5 games, Jets could maybe take 1. But without Scheifele, it's going to be tough. I got the Habs going into the 3rd round. What's your take on this series, how it's gone? And do you give the Jets any chances in making a comeback?
Well, see, if I'm Maurice right now, I'm making a call to Torts, who needs to phone Dubois and get his ass in gear. Because if Dubois doesn't play, this series over in 4. They need to get a light of fire under his butt to get things going because he could dominate this series. I think he's if you look at all the players out there, Sheffield was number 1, Dubois is number 2. And if he can do something and start playing the way he can play, he's going to be, I could see him absolutely taking over this series. And if he doesn't, this series will be over in 5. I do think Winnipeg will win 1 game. I mean, the fans in the stands will definitely help out, as we saw them in game 6 against Toronto. And it does help out. You've seen that against the Islanders and Bruins series. That's all based on the fans, I believe. But it's all on that. I think it's dependent on him. And if Stanley comes back tonight, which they're predicting he will, I can't. I mean, they might shock me, but I think Montreal is in the driver's seat right now. We'll see what happens. Aren't any major injuries, or if they can push it so they get Scheifele back, as Montreal proved, right? You can't take your foot off the pedal. You need to keep it on there. So, but I do have Montreal. I will go with Montreal winning the series now. I think Winnipeg's kind of seems lost. So,
yeah, like when we did the pre-show, like I watched it there the other night, the one with GD Special, and we all kind of picked Winnipeg, but at that time it was the game 6 hadn't been played yet, and I think most of us were kind of assuming it would be Toronto. So, and I did say with Montreal, I thought Montreal would give them a harder series, which has turned out to be true with the goaltending and the defense. Those top 4D on Montreal are playing really well. The guy I've been most impressed with is former Jet Ben Sherratt. He looks like a warrior out there. He's blocking shots with his back. He's doing whatever he can to keep that puck away from Carey Price, and it's tough to it's definitely tough to once you get pucks through, then you got to beat an all-star goalie. Like it's got to be tough for the Jets in this series, but it's going to be interesting. Looking forward to the game this afternoon. It's actually, I believe it's 3:30 in Alberta here. So should be good. Now let's go to the next series that I have on my list here.
And before we go, I guess the only thing we will have to say is kudos to Lars Eller there for protecting Evans from that scrum. It's all over Facebook, all over the news that he was saying there he was shielding him from players collapsing on him. So
Yeah.
as Evans laid there motionless. So good
Yeah,
on you, man.
that's Nikolai Ehlers, I believe, for the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah, he's yeah, it was cool to see him do that. I actually pointed it out when I was watching live. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You see, like, some people just get so pumped up when there's a big hit like that, they don't think of the guy lying there. So,
Yeah.
he was at the game. He's in the concussion protocol. Jake Evans, we're talking about, and hopefully he can come back in this series. But they're going to take it easy with him, and especially up 2-0, you don't need to rush him back. So hopefully he's good and he can come back because he's been a pretty good player for Montreal, killing penalties and kind of a good role player for them. Let's go to the next series. I was actually I'm cheering for Colorado in this series, but I was actually kind of happy when the Knights were able to take Game 3 because we want to see a long series. This is really good hockey. I feel like Philip Grubauer almost stole that game 3. I believe his shots were almost 2-1. It was like 30, high 30s, and then Colorado only had like 18 shots in the game. First 2 games, I feel like Colorado got Vegas maybe a little tired when that series started. They stomped them in the first game. Big hit by Ryan Graves, which I thought was clean. Ryan Graves goes crazy, gets suspended for a couple games in his thing that we talked about earlier. It's been good. Game 2, I felt like the Knights deserved a better fate. And then Game 3, it's almost like the hockey gods are smiling on them because they're down there at the end, and Vegas scored, and then they tied it up, and then they scored the winner. A nice tip by Pacioretty. So I'm still going Colorado in 6 in this case. I think they can probably win the next 2 games, which would make it a 5-game series. So I'll give them a little leeway in case Vegas ties it here, and we'll go 6 for Colorado. I know you picked Vegas in 7. You're probably still going that route.
Yep.
But what do you think of this series? And I feel like Vegas deserves a little bit better fate in the way these games have gone down. It's besides from Game 1.
Well, Game 1, I don't even think they showed up. I think it was just Colorado in a team practice with the odd black and gold jersey just kind of hanging around there. Game 2, Vegas came out flying the way that they can play hockey. Obviously I'd say it was a bad penalty, got called in overtime, and Colorado scores. And then Game 3, Colorado must have been out there gambling, golfing, who knows what they're doing out there, but Vegas was all over. The crowd was into it. I mean, like I said, the crowds right now are making a huge difference. I think tonight Vegas wins this game. And again, it's going to be the crowd, and we're going to see what happens, because if Vegas can do another performance like they did on Friday, now we're going to best of 3, and Colorado might end up being on their heels, feeling a little adversity, right? And then I'd still say it's going to be Vegas in 7. But I'll tell you what, it's been a pretty good series. I think Reeves is back tonight as well. So that's going to be huge for Vegas. Someone's going to try to fire him or whatever, but I mean, stick to your guns if you're Colorado, and if you're Vegas, just keep firing the puck. Good things happen. So
that's my whole thing with Vegas. If they just play their game, like in Game 1, it was like, I believe it was like 3-1 when all the shenanigans started happening. They're more worried about running around, hitting, trying to get Graves than getting into the hockey game.
Yep.
That doesn't, like Colorado, they don't need to play that kind of hockey. I don't think they're going to come out and worry about Ryan Reeves. They probably hope he comes back. And I gotta mention the Evander Kane tweet, which normally I don't laugh out loud. I'm sitting by myself, but he tweeted out, they got that whole beef with the Sharks and Knights playoff series. Evander Kane tweets out, instead of making Ryan Reeves suspended, they should make him play 22 minutes a night. So that's just another dig, right? I loved it. I laughed.
Yeah, well,
I'm like, that's good. That's good stuff. Good banter. Those two they're developing kind of like a Matthew Tkachuk, Drew Doughty type rivalry where they just trash each other off ice and then they get
Yeah.
at it on the ice. So I thought that was pretty good. So let's move on to the next series, which I feel has been the best hockey from all the playoffs that I've seen, and that's the Boston Bruins and Islanders. We're tied 2-2 now. There's been some lucky goals. I feel like the team that's won the game in almost every case has been not the best team on the ice, aside from maybe game one with Boston. Marchand scores a pretty lucky goal, but it was a nice shot. I don't think the goalie expected it in game three there. And yeah, what's your take on Boston and Islanders? And I'm almost gonna flip flop and pick Islanders in 6 here. I feel like they're playing pretty strong with a tough game 5 coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, by far the best series going so far. It's back and forth. They're hitting. You're seeing the odd scrums here and there, but you're not seeing that where it's taken over the game, right? They're playing. It's physical. Good stop. The goaltenders are playing well. You had some overtime magic happening, and the crowd, like I said, again, this is a series. Again, you go to TD Garden, and when the Islanders were, I think they're up in, was it game one, and Boston ends up coming back and winning overtime. The whole place was rocking. Then you go to the Coliseum there for the Islanders, and that place is rocking and getting the players hyped up. And yeah, it's been by far the best hockey. I mean, Barzal taking that spear in the groin yesterday, not a slash. It went from a 5-minute spear to a 2-minute slash.
Yeah.
Which I think that's confused the whole hockey. That should have been a 5 in a game. You speared the guy with your blade. That's not a slash in the sensitive area.
Mm-hmm.
So the NHL needs to get that correct, because Islanders were able to win that game. But I mean, that's something where the league needs to look at and suspend Krejci for a game like that. You need to have control of your stick. Yeah, I know there's cross checks. It's to the back, blah, blah, blah. But when you take that spear, that's the thing that can hurt you the most. So they need to correct that.
Yeah, it's definitely a play they got to get out of the game. Spearing shouldn't be. It's basically using your stick as a weapon. I'll be honest. I actually missed some of the hockey yesterday. Just busy doing stuff, but I did not see the spear. I did hear about it, so I'd like to maybe check out the video of that to give a more accurate portrayal of the play. But I don't know. Have you heard? Are they looking at the spear? Are they going to review it as maybe a suspendable play? I haven't seen anything.
Haven't heard anything yet. So
maybe they're just letting it go.
Maybe.
But Barzal did get the game winner, so maybe that's the hockey gods.
The will of justice. So.
Yep, exactly. So it's tied 2-2.
Favorite teams.
Yep, tied 2-2. We got the Bruins and Islanders there, so we'll see what happens. Probably a 7-gamer. Boston still looks pretty decent. I'm not cheering for Boston by any means. I did pick them to win the series before it started, so they got a good shot there. But Islanders have played tough too, so it's going to be interesting. The last series is the most underwhelming, which Carolina made it interesting in game 3 there, but we got the Lightning up 3-1 now. Pretty good shot at going to defending their championship from the bubble. I picked Tampa in 5. I feel like they are going to win in 5. So I got to give myself a little bit of props there. Something about lightning and wind or something you were ranting about in the last show that we had.
Yeah, being karma because they weren't allowing fans of other jerseys in the stands.
Yeah, which is
crap, man.
A whole different topic that we can address in a future show. What do you think of this series? I don't know. It's been very underwhelming. The storm surge thing is annoying. Some people like it. I think it's just ridiculous. So it's nice to see Carolina lose those home games so we don't have to see it. I like the way that Tampa's playing. Yesterday's game was just a 80s style goal fest. I was enjoying the comments from our Facebook friend Chino Garcia, who's going to be a future guest on the show. I like to say thank you to him for getting our show out there and getting some more subscribers and friends in the
Yep.
group. He's been a big help. He's a Rangers fan that's cheering for the Lightning because of all the players that have gone there. They're basically the Tampa Bay Rangers at this point. And so I'd like to say thank you to him. He was going nuts on Facebook there yesterday with all the comments. I was loving it. So shout out to him. I got Tampa in 5 here. Underwhelming series, hasn't been that good, to be honest. But yeah, I got Tampa. What do you think? Do you think your Hurricanes can make a comeback and push this
Well,
to 7?
if they would have won yesterday, it would have been a different series. But I mean, they took those penalties, which again, you can't take penalties against Tampa Bay, and they just kept ripping her up. The power play is phenomenal, and it's just you can't be doing that. And then the giveaway, and then it was over. So it's kind of, I mean, it's excellent hockey if you like defensive style hockey and great goaltending. And there's lots of goals. I think 8 goals scored in the second period yesterday. So, but the way it's going, I think the Lightning are going to advance. I think Carolina, they may win. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's game 5. So they're back in Carolina. They might win tomorrow night. So
Well, it's a must win for Carolina, or
Carolina now with the
or Tampa's going to have some time off
backs.
before they play because it looks like Boston and Islanders might maybe go in a distance. So that might be really good for Tampa because we all know that the winner of the Avalanche series will be playing the winner of the Jets Habs series. So then the other 2 teams who they'll be facing. Some pretty good. Next thing I have on the list is a potential round 3, and just the way how the North Division ended in the first round, we actually kind of know the potential matchups. Going to have the Avalanche or Knights versus Montreal probably, and that'll be a good series. You got the juggernaut offenses from the 2 teams in the West Division versus Montreal, who's basically a shutdown New Jersey Devils style team right now, the way they're playing. Wait for their opportunities. That'll be a good series, I think. And then you'd have you're looking at probably Tampa Bay versus Bruins or Islanders, which should also be a really good series. My Stanley Cup after round 1, because I did have Pittsburgh, would have been Tampa Bay versus Avalanche, just the way the matchups worked out. I think that would be an unbelievable Stanley Cup final. It would be really cool to see Montreal get past too. So you got a Canadian team in there, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. What do you think of a potential round 3? And what do you think those series would look like, and how good would they be?
I think Islanders Lightning would be a hell of a series. I think Bruins 2 would be a great series of Lightning, but I think the Islanders just keep coming at you in waves and waves and waves. They don't quit. They have Clutterbuck. They got those players that will get underneath the skin of the Avalanche or the Lightning Stars. So that's the series I'd be looking forward to. And in the other series, you'd have the Knights or Avs against the Canadians. I think, like you say, 2 offensive squads going up against a defensive squad. Now, whether Montreal's allowed to come back to Canada, that could have huge implications if they got to sit there and stay in Vegas.
Yeah,
or who knows where they're going to where they're going to go to Kansas City Arena. There you go. There's your neutral.
They do.
Actually,
I did
go to a place where there's a lot of Canadians. Have Montreal in that building. That's the only way Montreal will win that series if they can't come back across that border.
Well, why don't they just have it in the new Seattle arena? Start off the Seattle arena with a nice playoff series. We all know. I said don't get off topic, but I'm going off topic now. We all know how the Blue Jays do when they go to Seattle. The Seattle fans are all mad. They're just like, get out of here, and Canadians just take over. And it's definitely bucket list. I saw August this year, so once the vaccine's in me, then that'd be great to go see if we could go see a Blue Jays in Seattle, but that's off topic. But just put it in Seattle. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that arena's ready yet though.
Yeah, it might not be ready yet. I
Gotta be
don't
close.
know.
They probably have no
But
ice in there yet. They probably have no ice. You know what?
yeah,
Go down to Florida. Go play where the Panthers play. Have the Canadians in there. There's a lot of Canadians down there probably still right now.
or Arizona,
So,
but Phoenix in the Phoenix rink, they got lots of Canadians down there.
Yeah, they're not used to playoff hockey down there.
No, but
They're good to go.
if you look at potential fourth round matchup, Stanley Cup final, it's the only time in history that you could have a Boston Bruins Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup final. Like, how amazing would that be?
Yep. You know what? And going forward, I could see if the NHL gets huge ratings on this, I could see them continue on like this. And I think it should be like this. Once you get to the conference finals, it should be the top team versus the worst team.
Yeah, I like it. Honestly, like, I would love, we've talked about this in the past. I would love 1 versus 16. I don't care if there's 12 teams in the Western Conference that have more points than maybe the bottom East teams. Like, the top 16 should make it. You could even have a play-in tournament for the bottom, like top 20 can make it. You can have like a play-in and have a couple of first-round buys or something. I think it'd be really cool. Then you see different matchups. You like you might see a Toronto Maple Leafs versus Vegas Golden Knights first round series, like series that you'd never see. But Toronto needs all the help they can get, and they couldn't even win the first round series this year. So who knows? We'll do. I'm thinking next week we can take a look, like if kind of similar to that off-season show that we did with Andy. I'd like to maybe take a look at some of the teams that were out in the first round and what they might do in the off-season. Edmonton, Toronto come to mind. We could dive into that, but let's take a moment and let's have a moment of silence, because this is the first time in history that LeBron James has lost in the first round. So let's have a moment of silence for LeBron James. Okay, moment's over, because who cares? LeBron James, we don't care about you. We call you LeBaby for a reason. Okay? You try to build your super teams. You win, you lose. You've lost in the finals 8 times. Like, people that want to compare him to Michael Jordan, I'm not a huge basketball fan, but give me a break, man. Give me a break. Be like Michael Jordan leaving the Bulls to go play for Detroit, because Detroit beat him too many times. The NBA is a joke. Players leaving teams and trying to win that way. Kevin Durant, he played on Oklahoma City. He couldn't beat Golden State, so then he went and played for Golden State, and then he gets his championship, so then he's all happy. Then now he moves to Brooklyn. Now Brooklyn is the new Miami Heat. The only thing about the Golden State Warriors that I respect is they didn't build a super team until Kevin Durant went there. They drafted their team. It was nice to see. They went from a bad team to a really good team by getting good draft picks. So break down the NBA if you want. I don't really need to do that. I haven't watched the game, but honestly, it's funny watching LeBron. He gets poked in the eye. He's on the court for 80 seconds. They actually had a timer, which I thought was funny. He gets a cramp. They got to carry him off the court. Like, it's too funny. So I'm happy that the Lakers are out. We have a mutual friend, Tristan Ribeiro, who he can't even cheer for the Lakers anymore because of LeBron James. He says, when's he leaving so I can cheer for my team again? It's like, this would be like Ovechkin back in the day, leaving Washington and going to play for the Penguins because the Penguins kept beating him. No, he stayed there.
Yeah,
he ratted it out. He started playing more defense, and then he eventually beat the Penguins, and he went on to win the Stanley Cup. And that's what you do. You don't leave your team and go to another team so you can win. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't
No.
like
And
basketball that much anymore. I used to like it when I was younger. I did like the Raptors when the Raptors went to the finals and they won. That was great. Now, you might call me a hypocrite because they brought in Kawhi Leonard. It was a trade, it wasn't a signing. Kawhi Leonard didn't leave his team and pair up with a bunch of superstars to win a title. He came to Toronto. We sold him on the 1 year. He didn't resign. He built another super team, but they haven't done much with that in LA in the Clippers. So I basically cheer against the super teams. So that's the NBA talk for the year. I apologize if you guys got bored or fell asleep, but let's let's go to the next topic that I have here, and I feel like the hype for Vladdy Guerrero is finally coming true, which is great to see. He's leading the league in home runs or tied. It's awesome to see him playing so well. He's not just swinging at everything anymore. Like you wrote in the group chat. Feel like maybe his dad talked to him and said you don't need to hit a home run on every hit. Blue Jays, it's a struggle to watch sometimes with their bullpen, but I feel like they're playing pretty well. Hopefully they can get into the postseason and make some noise. What do you think of the Blue Jays season and Vladimir Guerrero?
well, he came to camp a lot later this year. Like I said, I think Senior had a little chat with Junior saying, hey, you need to come in later. Once you come in later, you're not going to be, you'll be quicker with the bat, you'll be quicker in the field. And that's what he did over the offseason. And I think, for a while, I think in the minors, he was hunting fastballs so he get to fastball counts. And now he's taking breaking balls the other way. He's hitting the ball hard. He's playing some of the best first base I've seen him play. I know it's just a sample size right now, but I mean, the stuff he's done. It's been, there's praise being thrown all over it, and he's finally arriving to the MLB. And the Blue Jays need to get on that horse and sign him to a long-term deal because he's going to be around for a lot of years. And I'll tell you what, if he keeps this up, he could end up beating his dad as being for all the stats that his dad had. And his dad was a phenomenal player who would hit balls that were in the dirt and he hit over the fence. So if you want to strike out Vladdy Senior, you threw it down the middle because he wouldn't swing.
Yeah.
So,
I remember
Guerrero's walking now, and it's great.
I remember Vladdy Senior when I was maybe a teenager, and he always would swing at the pitch that was 2 feet higher than the strike zone, and somehow he'd hit it straight. I don't know his statistics if he was a really tall player or not, but he would just taller that thing.
Yeah,
he was on when he was on the Angels, on the Los Angeles Angels, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. I know he played for the Expos, but when I saw him, it was probably later in his career. But
yeah.
Another question about
his dad was good, and he's good.
Yeah. Another thing about the Blue Jays, I've noticed the bullpen. We need to do something about this, and Tyler Chatwood has blown a few games here in the last week. Seems like I don't know, maybe he's hurt or he just forgot how to pitch. I don't know what's the deal. What do you think about the bullpen and what maybe the Blue Jays could do?
Well, see, relief pitchers are a funny breed, and I think in that game against the Rays, Montoya, he had a couple guys on base, and they're still up. They could have won the game. Montoya comes in, brings in a rookie to close it off, and the Rays he ends up walking some guys in. I think that one kind of hurt the confidence of Chatwood, and he's kind of lost it now. I think you have to let your veterans close games. It was a mistake on Montoya's part and the whole staff. I think the whole coaching staff had to wear that because you keep your guy, and if your veteran's going to lose, he can handle it. Your veteran's not going to handle if a rookie comes in and blows the game.
Yeah.
And then you end up getting the loss because of it. And that's where it's kind of hurt him. He needs to get back on track. I know he will. And the Jays here, they got the Astros today. And I think after this, they'll forget where they fly out to, but they need to get him back. Romero's back. There were some injuries. Mayweather's still down for another 50, 60 days.
That's
but
too bad.
their closer got, Yates was out
Yeah.
right off the hop. So I think they do need to make a trade for a closer, get a guy in there who can close games, especially as they're getting close, because I mean, hey, you can't live on your prospects forever.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You want that.
Like the Blue Jays did back in 2015 when they were going for when they finally were a good team again, and they made a couple big trades when they brought in Tulowitzki and David Price. Hopefully they do something like that. Definitely, they could bring in a couple relief pitchers and maybe some depth at some of the infield positions. I feel like Toronto, this would be a good year to go for it. I think they could definitely win their division. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yep.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about is we're very excited here in Canada in August. Sounds like we're going to have at least half stadiums for the CFL coming back. We had a whole year where we didn't have any games. And we're going to have the Battle of Alberta, the Stampeders versus the Elks. What do we think of this ridiculous name? And I posted the logo on the page, got some pretty good comments. There's a good meme of the Edmonton ELKS, which I laugh pretty hard at every time I see it. I've talked to multiple Eskimo fans. Am I allowed to say Eskimos on this show? We may have to bleep that out. But I've talked to multiple Eskimo fans, and they think it's stupid and ridiculous. But I want to bring up something how we all thought the Washington football team was a really dumb name, and then it kind of just all of a sudden it just kind of started making sense, and they're actually going to keep that name. So what's your take on the Edmonton Elks? And then we'll get into a small little preview of the CFL season, as we are going to try to do a full show on this one more in depth. But we'll just do a quick little show here on CFL. So what do you think of the name first off?
Have you seen their logo?
Yeah.
Kids can draw better than that. I'm serious. Like, I mean,
I've seen it.
And then watching the Alcoholics, that is great. You know what? I mean, right there and then, I mean, Edmonton, I bet you this name doesn't even last a year. There's just going to, I mean,
you got merchandise, so I think I'll roll with it.
Well, they could. I mean, hey, you know what? I mean, you're going to be calling yourself the Alcoholics, and that's what people are going to be calling them. They're not going to be called the Elks. And there is no pack of elks. It's like, hey, look at all the elks over there. It's like, it's elk. There's a herd of elk. There's a herd of elk running down the football. Like, geez.
It was funny because Andy, the guy that we had a show with the off season, go back and check it out. It was really good. If you got 2 hours and 10 minutes, because we went long on that one. Andy, actually, I was reading after I posted it, and then I realized that when he commented, it's like the plural for elk is elk. So
Yeah.
what is going on here?
Elk
The
is elk.
Elks, like, it's just ridiculous. But it's Edmonton, so but we're not going to hold it against
Manitoba. It used to be the Manitoba Moose, not the Manitoba Mooses. You know, because
Right.
Moose is Moose. I
The
mean, Manitoba get it right.
Mooses.
Everything can get it right.
Yeah, the Mooses would be a great team.
And I can't wait till the first guy gets hammered wearing that logo, and that logo falls apart.
Well,
It's all made out of sticks.
Like GD Special One, we talked off the video there, and after the name came on, and he was saying, what's you don't need a logo if you're a football team, because on your jersey you don't have really a logo normally, like maybe on the shoulders, and like maybe on the helmet they're gonna have like antler and the stupid little puke and urine colors. Like they had an opportunity to get away from their horrible color scheme and their EE helmets, but I guess they didn't want to spend the money on that. So my take is the name is stupid, but this is a league that had two teams that had the same name at one point. When there's 8 teams, Rough Riders, Jason Smart, our good buddy, he said, "Why not the Rough Riders? The Edmonton Rough Riders probably would have been better than the Edmonton ELKS." But
I think so.
okay, let's get off this Edmonton ELKS topic. Let's go. CFL starting in August. We're doing a 14 game schedule. Grey Cup in December. I believe it's in either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg this year. I can't remember, but that's going to be one cold championship game. Usually they end at the beginning of November, so this is going to be a big deal. Who do you have as the top teams in each division, and who do you have winning? I'll go first. I got Hamilton Tiger Cats as the top team in the East. I believe that they haven't lost a whole lot of players. They were a pretty good team last time we saw CFL. And I'll be a homer and I'll take Calgary in the West. So say Hamilton, Calgary, Grey Cup. And I hope Calgary can take it, but we'll see what happens. What do you think?
Yeah, Hamilton's, I think, still going to be the team to be in the East. You still have Montreal, which was kind of rebuilding there. Toronto is doing its thing. I mean, it's Toronto's Toronto. And then you got Ottawa. I don't know what Ottawa, I don't even know anything about the Ottawa team. I know that they're the Red Blacks and they had a pretty, I don't know. That team, I just can't figure out.
Yeah.
For the West, you have Saskatchewan. I see Saskatchewan and the BC Lions were coming on. And I mean, you could have a crossover again this year. I think you will have a crossover. Plus, I think you have Winnipeg in our division. So you'll get, you got Winnipeg will be tough. Calgary will be tough because Bo Levi Mitchell's back. They have some great wide receivers, right? The offense will be rolling. Edmonton, the Elks, I don't know. I'll just root against them even harder. Lions are kind of rebuilding. And Saskatchewan is all based on whatever happens with the fans. That's a team that runs on fan emotion. So get them watermelons ready, Saskatchewan fans. You'll need them.
Look forward to it.
Yep, it's going to be fun. But I am going to go Calgary Hamilton as well, with Calgary winning it.
Nice.
And I think this is their window's closing.
Yeah.
On everybody. So.
Well, Bo Levi is still pretty young. He kind of turned down that NFL thing when I think they were gonna give him a third string role. I believe it was with the Vikings. He had a whole deal with. He said, "Do I have a shot to win this job?" And they kind of said, "No, we're going with Kirk Cousins no matter what." So then he kind of said, "Well, I think I'd rather just continue." He could make more money playing there as a practice squad guy, but I think he cares more about leaving like a CFL legacy than he does about making more money.
Playing and winning.
That's cool to see. Like in the West, I feel like Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and Calgary would be the class of the West. Then got like Edmonton and BC are kind of like the lower tier teams. So I don't know. I think this could be a year where there is no crossover. And in the East, you got Hamilton and Montreal, probably the top two. And then you got Toronto and Ottawa kind of battling for that third spot. So depending on how bad the East is, I don't even know how the schedule is going to work out. If you're going to play equal games, because you can't really have a crossover rule if the West just plays the West and East plays the East. I don't know how they're doing it. So once we find out some more information, we'll have a more in-depth show. So we're pretty on par there with our CFL predictions. We're going to close out the show with one last thing here. Phil Mickelson wins the tournament. He was I believe he's the oldest player to ever win. Like most people know, I love playing golf. I don't watch a lot of it. So why don't you talk about the tournament that Phil Mickelson won and what it's good for his legacy and everything that goes with that.
Well, historically, he's the oldest guy to win a major, and his legacy has now been solidified as a top golfer. I mean, I was watching him there when he was playing in the PGA Championship, and it was just phenomenal to watch. The fans were out there. It's kind of like when Tiger came back to win the Masters a few years ago. The fans were there. The fans were cheering. I mean, people at home, the comments, it was like everybody's like, "Go Phil," and he just hung in there. And as the young kids were getting battered by the wind, old sturdy Phil was just doing what old sturdy Phil does, and he just hits the ball. Doesn't have to hit it far, especially in conditions like that. And I think he was running. I mean, he pretty much didn't even have to give up the lead. Nobody was actually being competitive enough to catch him, and so he just played normal golf. And what it did was it made him. I don't think it made him relevant again because he is of the older age, but it pretty much solidified him that he is a great golfer, and everybody will remember Phil as a 50-year-old guy who won a major. And now it's going to be up to the young kids to be like, "Ooh, I guess we got to get going, right?" And what does that do for Tiger Woods? How does he react to that? I wonder.
Well,
So
yeah, it's pretty incredible what he did. I think Tiger Woods needs to. I think he's doing rehab right now to get walking again because of that big car accident he had. I don't really know too much about that. I don't think they've released too many details on Tiger Woods, but be nice to see those two battle it out again on the golf course.
yes, this year there's the new match. The match, it is Mickelson and Brady versus Deschamps and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Tom Brady makes me laugh with the social media stuff. Did you see the thing on when he said it's a Super Bowl champ and a pro versus some Jeopardy host? Oh man, like if you guys know me, you know I'm not a Tom Brady fan by any means, but follow him on Twitter, follow him on Facebook. The dude is very hilarious. He pokes fun at himself. I remember he had something about Eli Manning. I was just like, oh my god! I was like spitting my beer out. It was so funny. About Eli.
He's the second funniest guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
For sport athletes compared to Luongo.
Yeah, Luongo's pretty good. I liked Strombone before you knew who he was a little bit better. Because everyone was just like, who is this guy? He just had like this silhouette of a goalie. And we're still trying to get him on the show. I've sent him a message. I believe you have too. So we would love to have an athlete on the show. I had Peter Labardius, color analyst of the Flames, on. We have an invite out to Ryan Pinder. Just hasn't. He's very busy on the weekend, so we're trying to work out something with him. And if you see this show and you want to come on, help us out. Send us a message, direct message on Twitter, or send us a Facebook message. We got DK and DAHAWK on Facebook, and then we're working on an Instagram. I got a Twitter account set up, so hopefully we get this thing going. So, do you have anything else on your mind, DAHAWK? Like I have this spot that says "Epic Hawk Rant" in my notes. So
Epic Hawk Rant.
I'm just wondering if you have anything on your mind.
I might have to drink a glass of water for this one because this is. I can't believe how dumb and stupid people are. You cannot be throwing popcorn at people. You can't be spitting on people. You can't be throwing water bottles on people. You can't be running on the court. And these are basketball clowns that are fans that call themselves fans that aren't fans. Get off the social media and stop making racist comments to a guy like Ethan Bear for a mistake that he made when it was McDavid that coughed up the puck and lost it in overtime for you guys. You haven't seen any comments about that, have you? I'm tired of these fans that sit there and, oh yeah, I pay my money. I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. You know what, Chant? You can have good fun trash talking like we did back in the days with the athletes and like that. But keep it clean. Keep it between the lines. Don't say anything about family members. Don't be running onto the field because you are going to get tackled. I mean, so there's some pretty good hard hits over the last few years that we've seen these fans coming in and they're all crying, oh, I got hit pretty hard. Well, what do you expect's going to happen? You're on a football field. Of course, a football player is going to take you down. Like, what are you, stupid? I get it that there's the beers. If you can't handle your beers, then go home. Watch it on your couch. And more than likely, after you have an incident, you will watch it on your couch. Those guys have been suspended, and especially the Utah Jazz fans. What a disgrace that is. I mean, you're yelling at some some guy's parents and making sexual comments to the mom of the guy who's playing on there. What a disgrace that is. I mean, there's a bunch of other Utah Jazz fans that were stepping up for this family, and the family should be able to go to any stadium to watch their kid play. End of story. Utah Jazz, I think in Game 5 said, you know what, we're going to have your family sit court seats, and that was good on them. But I mean, Utah Jazz have been known to have history of that, just like Boston's known to have history of racial slurs spewed out to players, where players said they will not want to go there and play. So give yourself up. Enough's enough, you guys. Just enjoy the game, have some fun banter, chant the goaltender's name after he gives up a goal from the red line, things like that. Boo the refs. All in good fun like that. But there's a line. If you think you're gonna cross a line, you probably already have crossed that line. So shut it down. Watch the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Talk out.
I agree. Good rant, man. I loved it. The Boston fan that threw the water bottle at Kyrie Irving. Now Kyrie Irving's a tool. Like, he's one of the biggest tools there is, and I could see why that fan wanted to throw. He walked over and he purposely walked on the logo just to get the fans going. And that fan throws the water bottle and they're charging him with assault and battery with a deadly weapon, which I thought was kind of funny. Don't know what's going to happen. He's been banned for life from going to that court. So I hope you feel good. You didn't even hit him. So I agree with you. You pay your money. You have every right to yell some things, but keep it classy. You don't need to be harassing people. The Ethan Bear thing is just like, I thought we were beyond this. It's 2021, people. Like, you can harass the guy for coughing up the puck, but you don't have to bring up racial stuff about it. Like, don't do that. You don't need to. There's no need for racism. I thought, like, we should be grown up by now. If you have social media and you're an athlete, sure, you can send messages to guys. Most people you can't send messages to. And there's a reason for that. It's because they're getting all this hate. So I'm glad the Oiler fans and NHL have come out and in support of Ethan Bear. I'm a Flames fan. You're a Canucks fan. We support Ethan Bear. There's no need for that kind of talk.
Nope.
There's many things the Oilers did in that series. They didn't lose the series because Ethan Bear coughed it up or whatever he did. So thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We want to get this stuff out to as many platforms as we can. If you'd like to be a special guest on the show, send us a message. Post on the Facebook page. Like I said, we got 106 members now. I'd like to hear from everybody. What do you like about the show? What don't you like? You want us to do more shows? You want us to do less and just have memes and sports talk on the page? Yeah, we're just trying to get it out there. So thanks again for watching the show, and we'll probably see you next weekend then. You have anything to say?
Have a good one.
All right.
No, just have a good one and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And if you're in Jasper in that area, prepare for 20 centimeters of snow.
Bucker down. All right. Have a good one, everyone. See ya.